But let's go back
to
Tony Khan. I know there's another question coming up. Let's see if there's anything in between here.
Thanks, Tony. Dave Meltzer with the Wrestling Observer. You're up next, and you'll be followed by Jim Barcelone with the Miami Herald. Dave?
Hey, Dave.
Dave?
Dave, you got to unmute your line.
We got to unmute Dave, Dan.
Oh, he's not even there in person?
No, it's a phone call.
The f***? Oh, I thought it was one of these crummy scrums.
Is he still on mute?
Is he
for
still?
A second.
Can we help? Someone help Dave.
Okay.
I think him and I are hitting at the same time.
Who's that?
Some mute woman.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. Got you, Dave.
Okay. All right, thanks. Tony, I was just wondering, in the last couple of weeks, we've been hearing about some of the guys that had been under contract. And I was wondering, I'm talking about Starks and Black and Phoenix and Miro. And is it a change of philosophy for you as far as releasing guys under those circumstances? Or is this like an individual case-by-case basis as far as the decisions on those particular 4 guys?
Good question, Dave. It's a fair question. And I think some of it's in line with what I've been talking about. I do think, to your point, it is a case-by-case basis. I think everything is really a case-by-case basis. So much of life is a case-by-case basis. But I do think philosophically, you're right. It changed from what I've been doing. But it just felt like the right thing for the company and everyone involved at this point. And that's the thinking behind that. But like I said, it's on a case-by-case basis. And they're all different situations. But in this case, those did have similar outcomes. So
in the other case, it'll be case by case until we case the joint and then pack it away in the briefcase.
And ask why now and why wouldn't have done that before. And I just decided that's what I thought was the right thing to do at this point. But it's definitely fair to ask. But that's really all there was to it. Thanks, Dave.
Well, I'm glad he was able to clear that up.
It's definitely fair to ask. Why does he always have to give his that was definitely a good question. That was definitely a fair question. At the end of all these, Ray Phoenix released. We haven't talked about that. What are your thoughts? Here we are, a couple months into Penta's run, and now his brother's been released. What do you do?
Well, and I don't recall, and I don't know if it's public knowledge, how much time that he was committed to still serve there if he hadn't been released. But I'm wondering if maybe Tony thought, well, this fucking guy, he's wanting to go anyway, and I've held him up long enough that they've already introduced Penta, so I've kind of screwed up an introduction, so maybe now I've accomplished what I wanted and I can just let him go and I don't have to pay him anymore. Who knows what is going through any of these people's minds. But I wonder, it's not really that late, and Penta hasn't been there that long, and obviously they wanted both brothers, so how quickly do you think that they can gear up into having a reason on WWE television for Penta's brother to suddenly join him and potentially help him out in a 2-on-1 situation? I would think they'd probably have some ideas, wouldn't they?
I think they probably had ideas they were working on previously. I think the only problem would be, not that it's a problem, but I've really come to like Penta as a single. He stands out more, especially in WWE land. I wonder about just throwing him into a tag team, but we'll see what happens. Also,
well, what would Phoenix do remarkably different from what they would do with Penta, and then you've just got 2 people doing almost the same thing?
Also apparently released or about to be released, whatever it may be, Abaddon, Nick Camarato.
What? Abaddon and Camarato Solo a Go-Go. That's from 5 years ago. Has he been paying these people to just exist?
Also not being brought back, released, whatever exactly it may be. The brother, I forget the exact name now, and I apologize, of Paige, or that's not her name anymore, Saraya. Is it Zach? One of her brothers.
Zach Knight, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah. He apparently is not being brought back either.
But he had a contract?
He was under contract, apparently.
We haven't seen her in months. God damn. Is it like, okay, 6 degrees of separation, everybody 6 degrees away from you gets a contract in your life?
You know shit's hit the fan when they release Angelico. That's when you know, like, oh my God, he's still there.
What the? Holy Christ. These people have been getting checks. Good for them.
You know, it really says something about the guys they haven't brought back. They really must have, like Jack Evans never returned. I brought up Angelico, made me think of him. He was there in the early days, and then they're like, you know, we've had enough of him. He's not coming back.